The hour of desperation strikes. Hello, One Piece enthusiast. I'm the One Piece nerd. Today, let's talk about One Piece chapter 1147. Elbaf has now turned into basically a warland, and desperation is at the worst that it could get. The Holy Knights have the upper hand, and we have no idea how to get out of this. Before we move on, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. Now that you have, let's begin. Now, at first, let's talk about the Holy Knights being immortal. It didn't come to me as a surprise because we knew the Gorosei was immortal, and it's the same for the Holy Knights. But the question being asked is, I understand how the Gorosei are immortal. The Gorosei are granted powers by Im, and they're basically turned into parts of Im, or Im basically infuses their souls into the Gorosei, and that's how we get the Gorosei. I'm not really sure how it happens with the Holy Knights, because granted, the Holy Knights are not the Five Elders. They're not people directly serving Im. They're not parts of Im. The idea that Im grants powers to any Holy Knight sounds very suspicious, and I would wonder why. I wonder how as well. Now, I'm not really sure how the mechanisms work, because remember, the Gorosei were summoned using a summoning circle. It's the same for the Holy Knights. I'm assuming that they have the same powers. The Devil Fruits are not the same. The Devil Fruits are definitely not the same, because we've seen Holy Knights using all sorts of Devil Fruits, whereas the Gorosei have primarily mythical zones that have been granted by, or are demons that are granted by Im. Now we can understand that these Devil Fruits were in fact real, not demons that Im Sama created, but the immortality part seems a bit weird, because I can suspect that the Gorosei probably has immortality the same lines as Im's soul stuck to them. But will Im truly allow for their soul to be stuck to 10 other potential individuals? And what makes you think that those 10 other individuals won't turn back against you? But that's beside the point. The immortality, on the other hand, of course, let's address how do we defeat this. There is, of course, some level of serious haki. We've already seen Joy Boy's haki from 900 years ago, exposing the Devil Fruit power, exposing the Gorosei, and now they had to go back, and that was enough to put them out of their forms. This is some advanced level of haki that's needed to defeat the Holy Knights, and I'm sure by the end of Elbaf, if this is truly going to be a big arc, it's going to be huge, and yeah, the Straw Hats are going to have to learn how to use haki on the level of Joy Boy. Now, the next thing to address is of course, the war situation. From the last couple of chapters, we've been basically fed that the world government has been preparing for war against the entire world. The world was supposed to be destroyed, but now there is a great war coming. We already knew there was a great war coming. Whitebeard said it, Oda said it, but I'm wondering how the world government takes into account of the war happening. We can see it happening because of Luffy and the Revolutionary Army, about how Luffy is going to basically arrest the world government, but the world government's perspective in all of this on how they expect a war to occur and between what and who will attack them, that's a bigger question to ask. Was this war prophesied 900 years ago? Did Im know about this immediately after the resurrection of Joy Boy or the reincarnation of Joy Boy? What is happening? But we know there is a war coming, and that the giants are needed for the world government to win against this war, which is why the kids are now taken as hostages. And of course, let's talk about devotions of the Straw Hat crew. Over the last couple of arcs, especially in Elbaf and followed now with Brook, we've seen Nami's devotion to Luffy, of how she believes Luffy to be invincible, or rather Luffy wouldn't be defeated, and she would never take anyone else as a captain or consider anyone else stronger than Luffy, because that's Nami's loyalty to Luffy. And now we have the same case with Brook, when Gunko said that Brook would be taken as a slave and would be Gunko's musician. Brook said, I'd rather die here than come to you and betray Luffy. We've been seeing this continuous trend of the Straw Hats showing their loyalty to Luffy. I'm wondering if somehow this will end up being the one person who doesn't end up showing loyalty to Luffy and they betray him. We've been wondering, speculating whether who's going to betray Luffy. I'm not really sure if that's a rumor or rather it's a theory, or even Rhoda confirmed it himself, but this trend seems to be very interesting, and I wonder if it'll go somewhere. Lastly, I want to end with the storyline and the pacing. For the last couple of arcs, or rather, when I started making videos from Wano, the biggest complaint about Wano I ever had was that the stakes were never higher. The stakes were never high. We always knew that Luffy and the others had the upper hand and they would somehow win. And even in fact, the war itself, the allies were basically telling us that this seems to be a very winnable battle. It did come with sacrifices, but they did win. The hour of desperation, or the climactic feeling that I wanted, that I got out of Enies Lobby, that I got out of Marineford, even Dressrosa in fact, Wano did not deliver that for me. Neither did Egghead. Egghead, I always knew that something would happen and that they would escape. I'd kind of suspected that it was some kind of hockey, and I just didn't know that who would do it and how it would happen, but I knew it would be some kind of hockey and some kind of secret weapon technology that would be used to defeat the Gorosei. But this time, with Luffy, Zoro stuck with Loki, and Sanji, the all-stars, stuck with Loki, dealing with Loki, the Giant Warrior Pirates dealing with basically demons of their wives, which is very funny, of course, and their moms. And the only ones left to defend Elbaf are the other Straw Hat crews and Gabon. That's it. Everyone else is defeated. This has been, for me, reading it weekly this time around, I feel like I've had the most level of desperation, but I feel like I don't know how this is going to happen. I don't even know if we're going to get out of this. In fact, I have a gut feeling that I just want to say that Oda, if he just stems off from his happy-go-lucky and storylines, the children of Elbaf do get kidnapped. And that Elbaf has to make a very powerful choice. I really don't want the Holy Knights to be defeated here. I don't want Luffy and the others to show up and beat the Holy Knights and then rescue the children and head for the next island. No. Yeah, I've seen that. I know Oda likes to do this. But for one time in post-time skip, I want this to be a place where the Holy Knights win. Where the Straw Hats incur loss, kind of, sort of. And the Elbaf fall into chaos and something happens. And then we're led off to some more different places where we're basically heading against the war against the world government. Where the Elbaf has taken the side of the Straw Hats and they have to rescue the children. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that the Straw Hats are going to win? How do you think they're going to win this? And what do you guys think about the immortality aspect of the Holy Knights? That's it for the video, guys. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. Have a great day, and peace.